I would love to just kind of hear, Perry, from your perspective, what are some other businesses or some other times in history that you've seen this happen? Everybody's kind of like piling on top of each other, and now these VC funded companies are going to start falling like dominoes because there's they're all doing the same thing.
You know, when you first presented this idea, I'm like the Industrial Revolution, right? Like, not that I lived through that. I mean, I am getting old, and I do have gray hair, but that's certainly outside of my timeline. But when you look at that, you're like, it's like very similar to what's happening with AI in terms of, displacing these jobs. People used to die for engineering jobs. Like here where I am in the Northeast, in an old silk mill, right? And down the streets, an old paper mill and all these old mills, people used to die for these jobs. Like workers would stand up on, in the parking lots, they would come here and they would wait for new roles to see if they could work that day, even part-time, because they had like good culture. There was this whole team environment, and a lot of times they were dangerous, but like this was good, stable, solid, steady work with benefits, and you could support your family on that in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And the rate and the pace of change, I always like looking at as wavelengths, right? Where the wavelengths, like on a graph, they were spread out. Well, now they're very close together like this, because when you have you had coding used to be when you started out, you had to do it yourself and it was hard. Now you have AI, and it's like some intern that we could hire can learn how to code faster than ever and do more than we ever could, a year into learning code or whatever, because they have ChatGPT write their stuff for them. And so the rate and the pace of change it's at a scale never seen before. However, there are things that I see differently from where we started. I spent a ton of money, too much money in 2024 on coaching, like personal development coaching, all this stuff, trying to figure out how to build a business. One of the things I learned was niching is important. Niching down is important. However, going into a saturated market is not a bad thing because it means the market's already established. Okay, so like now I can like let that go. I'm like, okay, this is a threat. This means that there's money here. This means that this market is stable. It's going to be here for a while. It's expanding. It's growing, whatever. That's good. Like I love Alex Hormozi's magazine market, right? Like the magazine or the newspaper market is declining. So I'm like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an established market that's either growing or it's steady. So that's not a threat in the same way that I think it used to be. Like you and I years ago used to bounce from idea to idea because we're like, oh, there's too many people doing this. And like, I don't fear that anymore. So then the viewer that's watching this, it's like, what's the solution for them? Like I'm not, the purpose of this isn't to fearmonger, right? It's like, how do they solve that problem? For me, I like a lot of what Myron Golden said or talks about in terms of like, when you start, there's two ways to look at this. You can make the business super unique, which is getting harder and harder to do, unique, niche down, whatever, like you could serve a specific customer, right? So for us, like with Insta here, we're choosing to go more of a value route than a volume route. So it's not like click and pay